Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today. This is Aastha Chopra. Well, Mirae Asset Mutual Fund is out for the outlook of 2026. To discuss more, we have Mr. Swarup Mohanty, the Vice Chairperson and CEO of Mirae Asset Mutual Funds. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us your time. Your presentation was very informative. Let's discuss more to address the public. So, what are the outlook, the 2026 outlook we are looking in terms of how is it a positive growth and optimistic growth for the investors, for consumers, for the retailer investments? What are we looking for?
I think today we discussed two sides of the story. One was the asset management, our perspective or our view on the market, and we left towards the end to what the investors should look at.
Yeah.
And while we continue our journey as an asset manager and extremely constructive of the equity markets, we remain fully invested. I think if you look at last year, we added the small cap to our bouquet of products. Too early to talk, but I think the portfolio is there for everybody to say. But I think when you look at the broad performance of our funds, it's good to see a strong comeback across funds. Last year, it just showcases that if you hold on to your conviction and your portfolio, when markets turn, the real stocks come out in front of everybody.
Yeah.
So it was a good year to end and just puts the virtue of holding on to your stock ideas eventually play out. So along with that, we added a plethora of products on the passive side. We're building good track record both in market cap as well as factors as they unfold. We prided ourselves on our ability to bring new ideas to the market, and some of the new ideas are beginning to play out on the ETF side. All in all, I think as a fund house, we are looking far broader and stronger than we were, say, 5 years ago. We stand at crossing 30,000 in debt assets, which is a clear demarcation of what we were, say, just before COVID. We look a more diversified asset manager in our journey. It's just been 18 years.
Yeah.
So I think we finished the first part of our business of putting good, strong track record and products. We're looking forward to growth going forward. Something unique about us is actually pretty staggering for me to say that we are the only global organic asset manager in India. It just speaks of how different the journey of global asset managers in India has been. But to stand alone in this market is pretty special, and we'll take it any day. But here's the thing, when it comes to the investors, 2026 is a very strong threshold because the underlying rules for asset allocation have completely changed. And that's something which we wanted to discuss this year too, because investors, when they sit for the review of the portfolio, it's very important that they understand what we call the democratization of bias.
Yeah.
Because the thought that gold is a hedge in a portfolio no longer is true, because for the first time, gold reserves, sovereign gold reserves today globally is higher than that of dollar reserves, just signaling that gold is no longer just something which is just to hold on as a hedge. So as financialization of gold investing happens, I think you have to ask yourself whether you'll treat it as hedge or you'll start moving it more towards core. Indians don't need introduction to gold. Everybody has gold, but owning digital gold is a far superior way of owning that same asset class. Then, as we presented, if you see the last 3 years of stock listing, more listing has been more on the mid and small side.
Yeah.
So the erstwhile cliched view of holding more large caps as the core, by virtue of just wanting to hold the length and breadth of the market, stands changed. You have to own more mid and small to just capture the new market. I mean, just put things in perspective, like mutual funds which got listed are more mid-cap than anything.
Yes.
So if you want to own us, you have to allocate to mid-caps. Hospitals are a very big part of future of India. If you want to own that, it is more mid-caps. I can go on, but the point I'm making is you have to break out of that earlier advice of large being core. No, that stands changed completely. And the age group of investors have also changed. The next 5 years, you will see a far younger lot coming in, and hence when you observe the flow of funds, they've been more from a risk-averse environment to a risk-seeking environment. So
Exactly.
the young will probably prefer very different products, more factors than flexi cap is my opinion. So it's a very interesting time now. If you want a good portfolio going forward, I think you have to give away of all these said rules and biases that were there and look at portfolio construction in a very fresh perspective.
That's very interesting thing you just mentioned. The younger group is also coming for the investment. For example, it's a very funny thing. If I say my the portfolio of my father and me, they're totally different of according to how. And one interesting thing you were putting out during the presentation also, that you said one line that there are no mid caps or small cap. There's either bad or good caps. So I just want to understand, and I can see it in the presentation also. So I just want to understand, have mid and small cap valuation reached the levels where the risk are being underappreciated by any means?
I mean, just go a little deeper on that statement that there are good caps and bad caps. And it's also true about valuations. Valuations, actually, when one part of the market becomes overvalued, it opens up the rest of the market for good valuation. And we're seeing that as we speak. I mean, that it's always a statement that it's a stock picker's market, but make no mistake, 2026 is a stock pickers market. People who stay away from those overvalued side and look at the broad market, there are enough stories out there which can be picked, and I think we back ourselves on that side, and we find market very comfortable in 2026 to pick and accumulate some of these great stories at good prices. So you look at any fund manager and you ask them, they'll ask, how do you pick a stock? They'll say, we want a good story or a good company at a good price. There are good companies available at good prices because some part of the market has become overvalued and a lot of money has chased that part only.
Absolutely, that's very interesting. So can India continue to outperform the global markets if the liquidity continues?
No, I think India has to first sort out the tariff issues. I think that's something which is hanging
that's
on
the
everybody.
bigger
That's
part.
the big elephant. I think whichever way that signature has to happen, if India, the markets have to find a trigger or a path. More important, I think corporate earnings have to come back, and that's always the big trigger behind market. I feel 2026 is that year of finding the path for the market, and it may have a very different path from the earlier side. Yes, it's the growth economy of the world, so it will follow growth trajectory, but which parts it will find is something which these two big major events will follow. So I think first the tariff has to be laid down, or some clarity has to come. Otherwise, it will always be in that limbo, right?
Absolutely.
And secondly, of course, we need corporate results to be back.
Yeah, that's true. And what do you think about the gold in 2026?
So I'm personally saying that bulk of the gold is in the front of physical and jewelry.
Yeah.
My personal advice to every investor is that jewelry which is locked up in the locker rooms have no value. The day you want to buy jewelry to wear it, just sell the digital gold and buy it. It's a far superior form of owning gold. And if you look at the broad commentary going out, gold ETFs are a good way to own gold. It's far secure and more closer to the price of the gold than any other form of gold, right? But I think to answer your question, it cannot just be a hedge.
Yeah.
We will see continuous gold buying in this new polarized world, in this uncertain world, as the world also finds a new path for itself. Because, see, when the largest economy of the world changes its behavior, the rest of the world will also change its behavior. Till that new behavior is not ascertained, gold remains a good safe haven for sovereign also. If countries are buying gold, then I see it as a good way ahead. I think the portfolio allocation has to be looked at very differently in 2026.
Yeah, I think this is a very debatable topic in terms of the younger generation and their parents as well. They feel like physical gold is like their future of investment and everything. But of course, we keep on debating with our parents. But of course, they have had to have a little time to understand that. Before I let you go, Mr. Mohanty, just one question. What are the top 2 sectors you see which will be like absolutely optimistic in 2026?
No, I think from an investor perspective, let's look at it from the investor perspective and go by industry flow. Typically, traditionally, the large and flexi caps are the places where bulk of the money still resides. Last 2 years, people have bought a lot of small caps. What has got ignored is the mid cap from a ownership perspective. For stronger portfolio, and you Google me, I stand by my statement that India is about mid caps. And people have not bought enough mid caps, is my opinion. And the data says that. So maybe 2026 will be a good year to accumulate good mid caps because some of them are available at good prices. I mean, I can go out and say the safe bet of buy a flexi cap, but that's not what a portfolio really needs. Portfolio needs representation across the market. And I can, without checking, not your generation, but my generation already has a lot of large and flexi. They've bought a lot of small. It's time to fill the gap of mid caps next year.
Well, you heard the man. Midcaps are the future and optimistic goal for 2026. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to us. It's our pleasure always to have you on our channel, and we hope to see you soon, very much more often. Thank you so much for speaking to us, and wish you a very all the best. Thank you, sir.
I wish you a very happy new year and
Thank
have a
you.
wonderful year ahead.
Thank you. Same to you, sir. Thank you.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.